Welcome, family, to Gorgeous Models. Before we get into today's video, I need you to do something for me right now. Stop scrolling, put the phone down, close every other tab, because what you're about to hear is not the kind of story that gets told enough. And trust me, once you know who Elvisa Dedic really is, you will never look at Instagram the same way again. We're not talking about just a pretty face. We're not talking about just another girl posting fire photos in Miami heat. We're talking about a woman whose mother was shot by a sniper while she was pregnant with her. We're talking about a girl who crossed an ocean at age 11 with nothing but survival in her bones and a dream she hadn't even named yet. And we're talking about someone who looked at a 5 million person audience and said, "That's not my finish line, that's my starting capital." This is the story of Elvisa Dedic. And by the time this video ends, you will understand why her name belongs in a completely different conversation from every other influencer you follow. Let's go back. Not to the glamour, not to the cosmetics brand, not to the Fashion Nova campaigns. Let's go back to Bosnia, to a city called Dedić. In the early 1990s, while much of the Western world was listening to grunge music and watching Saturday morning cartoons, the Balkans were on fire. A war was tearing apart a country, a people, and a generation. Cities were under siege, families were running, and in the middle of all of that chaos, Elvisa's mother was pregnant and a sniper's bullet found her. She survived. Elvisa was born. Let that sentence sit with you for a second. The woman you're watching on Instagram today, the CEO behind a cosmetics empire, the model with 5 million followers, almost didn't make it into the world. She was born into war, born in Dedić, Bosnia, into one of the most volatile and heartbreaking conflicts of the modern era. And when she speaks about going back to visit that city, when she talks about seeing the place she came from with her own eyes as an adult, you can hear what that means. Not just nostalgia, something heavier, something that shapes a person from the inside out in ways that no amount of Instagram success can erase. When Elvisa was 11 years old, she left Bosnia and came to America. 11 years old. Think about what you were doing at 11. Riding bikes, playing video games, worrying about school drama. At 11, Elvisa Dedic arrived in a brand new country with a new language, a new culture, a new everything. And instead of breaking under that weight, something in her quietly began to build. Immigrants who arrive young have a particular kind of hunger, not just to survive, but to become, to prove that the distance they crossed meant something, to build something worthy of what was left behind. And Elvisa, whether consciously or not, was already laying the foundations of a woman nobody would be able to ignore. She settled in Florida, specifically in the Jacksonville area, and she didn't coast. She studied, she showed up. She graduated from the University of North Florida with a degree, a double major no less, in criminal justice and psychology. Now think about that combination for a moment. Criminal justice and psychology. The science of how systems of power work and the science of how the human mind works. If you were designing a blueprint for someone who would later build a personal brand empire, you couldn't write a better academic background. She didn't stop there. She enrolled in law school. She worked as a judge's courtroom assistant. This is not the resume of someone who was just waiting to go viral. This is the resume of someone who was building a foundation layer by layer, with or without an audience watching. But here's where the story shifts. Here's where Elvisa Dedic stops being one thing and starts becoming everything. She had a presence that couldn't be ignored, a face, a confidence, an energy that translated through a lens in a way that very few people are born with. And she started posting, not desperately, not chasing trends, just posting, sharing her style, her life, her beauty. And Instagram did what Instagram does when it encounters something genuinely magnetic. It amplified her, and then it amplified her again, and then one day the brand started calling. Pretty Little Thing came first, Fashion Nova followed. If you know anything about the economics of influencer marketing, you know what those two names mean. These are not small brands handing out free clothes hoping for a post. These are massive global fashion machines with marketing budgets in the tens of millions, run by teams of analysts who study engagement data, audience demographics, and conversion rates. When Pretty Little Thing and Fashion Nova come knocking, it means you've already crossed a threshold that most people spend years chasing without ever reaching. It means the numbers check out, it means the audience is real, it means the influence is measurable. And Elvisa was there, at that intersection, collecting brand deals while still completing her education, still studying law, still walking into courtrooms, still being the kind of woman who doesn't trade one chapter for another. She writes them simultaneously. And this is the part that most people miss when they look at her grid. They see the outfits, they see the poses, they see the aesthetic, which by the way is impeccably consistent. Warm luxury tones, confident styling, a visual language that reads as aspirational but not untouchable. What they don't see is the strategy. Because every post from Elvisa Dedic in those years was not just content, it was currency. Every sponsored post with Fashion Nova was not just a paycheck, it was market research. Every tagged collaboration was her studying what her audience responded to, what they clicked on, what they shared, what they bought. And somewhere in the middle of all of that data, Elvisa made a decision that would change the entire trajectory of her career. She said, "I don't want to build their brands anymore. I want to build mine." There is a quote from an early interview with her that we need to hold on to. She said, "My goal wasn't to always wear brands, it was to become one." Read that again. My goal wasn't to always wear brands, it was to become one. That is not the language of an influencer. That is the language of a founder. That is the language of someone who looked at the ecosystem they were operating in and decided they didn't just want a seat at the table, they wanted to set the table entirely. And in March 2021, Elvisa Cosmetics LLC was officially registered as a limited liability company in the state of Florida. Not announced, not hyped, registered, filed, legal, real. Before the launch post, before the press coverage, before the world knew anything about it, the entity existed, the business was already breathing. In July 2021, Elvisa Cosmetics launched publicly, and what she was building wasn't some basic merchandise play, the kind of vanity project that celebrities sometimes attach their name to without real investment. She built a catalog, a real one. Today, the Elvisa Cosmetics store carries 70 products across 9 categories: mascara, highlighters and blush, eyeshadow palettes, lip gloss, lipstick, lip scrubs, brushes, skincare and bath, accessories, 70 SKUs. Think about the logistics behind that, the sourcing, the packaging, the photography, the inventory management, the customer service, the website architecture, the pricing strategy. This is not someone who slapped a logo on a product and called it a brand. This is operational infrastructure. This is a business. And look at how she positioned it. The pricing architecture is smart. Entry points as low as $5 for bath and care products, which means someone with $10 to spend can get into the Elvisa Cosmetics world. Then a robust mid-range between $12 and $24 for the everyday essentials, mascaras, palettes, brush sets, things people buy repeatedly, and then gift sets and curated bundles that go up to $49 and beyond, which captures the occasion buyer, the gift giver, the treat-yourself moment. That is not accidental. That is deliberate. That is someone who studied consumer psychology, and we know she literally studied psychology, engineering a purchasing experience that captures as many different types of buyers as possible. The brand aesthetic is equally considered. Rose gold packaging, names like Luxe Diamond Mascara, Chain Lipstick Set, Gold Luxcara, Boss Babe Matte Lip Kit, Queen Matte Lip Kit, Libra Matte Lip Kit. These names are not random. They're telling a story. They're speaking to a woman who wants to feel expensive without necessarily paying expensive prices. The positioning sits in a very specific and very profitable space: affordable luxury, giftable beauty, products that look like they belong on a vanity that costs $10,000, priced so that a 25-year-old with a regular paycheck can actually own them and feel something when she does. And some of those products carry explicit vegan and cruelty-free claims on their pages, which in 2021 and beyond is not just an ethical statement, it is a market positioning move that speaks directly to a generation of buyers who care deeply about what they put on their skin and what that purchase says about their values. Meanwhile, as the cosmetics brand was growing, Elvisa didn't abandon her influencer platform. She doubled down on it, but the collaborations evolved. Fashion Nova and Pretty Little Thing gave way to deeper, more curated partnerships. In July 2023, Shop Pretty Pieces launched what they called the Date Night Pretty Collection, with Elvisa Dedic as the curatorial partner, not just the face. She was credited with helping select the pieces. That is a significant distinction. That is the brand saying, we trust her taste, we trust her knowledge of what her audience wants, we want her fingerprints on the actual product, not just the promotion. That is a level of professional credibility that takes years to build. And she kept building. Hot Miami Styles in January 2024, Style We and Avid Love in late 2025, Shein in February 2026 with a direct promotional code in a declared advertisement post. These are not the collaborations of someone whose career is fading. These are the collaborations of someone whose audience is a proven commercial asset and who knows exactly how to deploy that asset for maximum return. Let's talk about the numbers for a moment, because numbers tell a story that words sometimes can't. When Elvisa Cosmetics was getting ready to launch in mid-2021, her Instagram account had approximately 787,000 followers. That is already a significant audience. By early 2022, she had crossed 958,000. By September of that same year, reports were placing her at over 2 million. Today, in 2026, analytics platforms are placing her between 5,003,000 and 5,029,000, depending on the snapshot date. That is a journey from under 1 million to 5 million in roughly 5 years, and the engagement rate sits at around 0.44%, which in a world of inflated follower counts and hollow metrics is not a vanity number. It represents a real and sizable community of people who actively interact with her content. By March 2021, the LLC was filed. By July 2021, the store was open. By 2023, the product catalog had grown to include 70 items across 9 categories. By 2025, the affiliate monetization era had begun in earnest, with promo codes and declared advertising posts, a sign that the business is mature enough to generate ancillary revenue streams beyond direct product sales. By 2026, the brand is still active, still growing its catalog, still deploying Elvisa's personal account as its most powerful marketing channel, and Elvisa herself is still posting, still collaborating, still studying, still building. Here is the truth about what Elvisa Dedic represents that goes beyond her personal story. She is an example of what the next generation of wealth creation looks like. Not inheriting money, not winning a talent show, not getting discovered by a traditional agency, building it, post by post, product by product, partnership by partnership, starting with a camera and a face and a story that needed to be told, and then having the discipline, the strategy, and the hunger to turn attention into infrastructure. The followers are not the destination, they are the foundation. And what she's built on top of that foundation, a legally registered business, a 70-product catalog, a multi-brand collaboration portfolio, a personal brand with enough gravitational pull to generate 5-figure monthly income from a single social platform, that is the destination. And she is not done. Law school has an end date. That degree will come. And when it does, when Elvisa Dedic adds Esquire to a name that already includes CEO, graduate, model, founder, survivor, and pioneer, the next chapter of this story will be the most interesting one yet. So if you found this video, if you've been watching for this long, understand that what you just witnessed is not a fan tribute. It is a case study in how to build something real, and how to honor where you came from by refusing to be limited by it, in how to take a story that started with war and a mother's survival and a flight across an ocean at 11 years old and turn it into a 5 million strong empire that sells beauty with intention. Elvisa Dedic is not an influencer who happens to have a cosmetics brand. She is a founder who happened to use Instagram as her first investor pitch. And the world, 5 million strong and still counting, said yes. If this video gave you something, if it made you see what's possible, if it added fuel to whatever you're building, then you know what to do. Hit that like button, subscribe to Gorgeous Models, and share this with someone who needs to hear a story about what happens when survival meets strategy. Because here on this channel, we don't just talk about beautiful women, we talk about what beauty can build. And this is only the beginning.